You show how you're working with suppliers to achieve what you're doing, and it's a given, given the fact that Apple has such an extensive network of suppliers.
Yeah, so 77% of our carbon footprint of last year's carbon footprint, we haven't done it for this year, is in our supply chain. So that means, think about it, these are places that manufacture, they may be mines, they may be a component manufacturer, they may do something.
And what's the breakdown? Could you say what, and I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, what breakdown is domestic and what breakdown is overseas?
Most of the carbon emissions are overseas, but we definitely have in our top 200 suppliers, I can't remember the number right here sitting, but we have a huge part of our supply chain.
It's domestic.
Our component manufacturers, like the cover glass is the one I like to use with Corning.
Sure.
So you were saying, so 77% in the supply chain. So now you have to get that supply chain to move to clean energy.
Right.
Some people would say, well, if they don't use clean energy, take them out of your supply chain. There's two problems with that. No one's using it yet, and so you have no supply chain. That's a problem. But more importantly, if Apple stands for anything, it should be moving the supply chain leadership. And so what we find is a lot of what the supply chain energy managers need is help. They're just not, they don't have a staff of engineers and an energy department like Apple does and consultants who can help them find deals. So our program consists of two things, mainly technical support and a web portal where our teams go out and spend tons of time with suppliers trying to help them move to clean energy. To be honest, most of our suppliers in the US don't need the help. We're talking about certainly Asia, but other suppliers around the world who need to understand, how do I access clean energy in my country? I can't just plug in to a clean grid.
Right.
And then we also have done...
are there stories that come to mind of here in whether it's Asia or Africa or Europe that where you were able to connect a supplier and what does that look like?
It looks like wanting to give all the credit to them because you want that moment when sort of they get the trophy, but yeah, we have several suppliers in China who we've scouted the deals and helped them understand and said, here's the investment you would have to make. Here's us assuring you that the energy will actually make it onto the grid so that it's offsetting the energy you're pulling from the grid. And we also did 485 megawatts of clean energy ourselves in China as a down payment for our supply chain, so that they
And was that solar or what kind of energy was it?
Yeah, solar. Actually, we have one wind deal, two as well, so solar and wind. But the idea is a little bit of do it, show somebody, teach somebody how to fish, and then at some point say, hey, we're actually going to start favoring suppliers whose carbon footprints are lower. That'll be one of the ways we evaluate you. We're not doing it yet because we want to help you get there, but the time is coming.
And do you have a year where you're hoping to achieve 100% renewable with suppliers, or is that not fixed in stone?
Yeah, we haven't announced a year for that. We announced 4 gigawatts of new clean energy in our supply chain by 2020. We did that 2 years ago, and we already have 2.8 gigawatts under contract and don't quite quote me on the number, but over 1.5 already built. So we have a couple more years, but of course we want to finish early. And so that 4 gigawatts will be a significant step in the right direction.
Got it.